Welcome to the Bushy Road Wise Schwartz and Market Update for November 28th, 2021. We are going to skip the Bushy Road part of that completely. There's not really anything to talk about. And what I'm going to talk about now is the Date a Bullet release. That thing comes out this Friday. And I did a video on investing, buying, whatever you want to call it. And you should check that out. I also would like, if anybody knows what the case rates are, like OFRs, SPs, please write in the comments. I know someone asked about that. I couldn't find it anywhere. So if you do know, please write that down. Again, I know that is the JP version, which may differ from the English version. I doubt that. But again, anyways, if anybody knows it, please put it down there below. Next thing we have after that is Ruby, which is pretty nice that, we have Data Bullet coming, which is a smaller set, and then Ruby coming out, which is a full-blown set. It's going to be real interesting seeing how we are also getting a supply set, and that supply set inside, again, just so everybody knows, is there is going to be these fancy promo cards in there. So there are people that have bought cases of this stuff just to guarantee themselves possibly getting all four. I say that because I saw on Reddit where someone bought a quintessential set case. All five of these in here. Here we go. This thing. And for the most part, what people have said is if you have a case of these, you're going to get one of each girl. And that's what's been seen. But someone on Reddit put on there that they actually got a duplicate. They got a duplicate Nino and didn't get the Yotsuba, which in a way works out because Nino is worth more than Yotsuba. But again, you have to go through the hassle of selling it and all that good stuff. By the way, I am not going to edit this video. I do not have a lot of time, so bear with me as I talk through things. It's not going to be as smooth as normal. I'm just going to do what I did last week. I don't have a lot of time. I got another deadline work-wise that's due Friday, so I am back to not sleeping as much. I took a few days off for Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Saturday. But right after this video, I am going back to work. So that's how that's going to be the rest of the week. And after that, we're going to get a bit of time in between from Ruby into the Bang Dream stuff, which is much needed. We really needed it. Again, there were delays that pushed all the schedules. That's why it's all squinched together and releasing around 2 weeks between each other. But finally, we're going to get a little bit of reprieve. Bang Dream coming out a month later. And we all need that. I think people are getting strained on the budget. There's too many TCGs. Because I know some people don't just buy Y Schwartz, right? You might be buying Pokemon. You might be buying WeCross. You might be buying Magic the Gathering, maybe. I don't know. MetaZoo. Who knows? But no matter what the case, people are running out of money, and again, you still have bills to pay. You want to eat, and with Christmas coming up, you're gonna be buying presents potentially for people, and here we are. So schedule hasn't changed much at all. It looks just about the same. Not really anything else here. So that is our schedule. Well, we have on this Facebook page. Do we got anything? Not really. Nope. So here we are, Quintessential Quintuplets. This has been pretty nuts what's going on with Quintessential Quintuplets. And the other part of that makes it even crazier is this. We had a bonus bucks sale on TCGPLAYER promo. Anytime that you were to purchase anything on TCGPLAYER on Black Friday, you got 15% off. And I'm about to show you where that promotion really spurred a lot of, let's say, sales. Tons of sales. People were buying everything. And when I mean everything, I mean everything. I'm going to tell you right now that if there was I'm going to say this kind of cryptically. If there was something that you wanted from this past year and you didn't buy it, you may want to look it up and consider buying it tomorrow, because tomorrow during Cyber Monday, as you can see here, there is another bonus bucks promotion, 10% this time, It went from 15% on Black Friday down to 10% on TCG Player. Oh, and again, thank you to the people that actually that used my link. I have a link with TCG Player. I'm affiliated, and I know some of you wrote me to say, that you used it to make sure that I actually get the sale. So appreciate that. Anybody else that didn't actually email or anything like that and used it, again, thank you for that. I really appreciate it. So tomorrow, 10%, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern time. So a huge amount of time. The way they've been doing these bonus bucks promos, I wonder if another one's going to pop up around Christmas time. Who knows? I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but these things are really nice, and they're really pushing hard on all of this. Let's get people to use our site and buy cards during this time. I mean, sellers are really happy because they're able to make the sale. Same time, people are happy because they're able to buy this stuff cheaper than what they would have gotten. And what actually happened here is you'll start to see. Let me just scroll down. You can see it like right away here. Let me zoom in for you. You see this? Out of stock, out of stock, out of stock, out of stock, out of stock. One here, 5, 2, out of stock. So there was a real reason why I started writing down how much quantity of stuff there were. You'll see it right here. I actually had to make this fancy little table here because I wrote the amount of cards because I knew that with this sale, something nuts is going to happen, and it actually turned out that way. Coupled with that, the fact that Schwartz came out and said there was delays on Quintessential Quintuplets, and this was bound to happen where it was just going to be nuts. I still don't have any confirmation on how many stores, how many people really didn't get actual product. And that's something that we'll talk about a little bit later. But let's go into it. We're going to talk about the double rares. Again, with this set, for everybody that doesn't know, this set had the inclusion of double rares, which was normal from other sets, but then they also had double rare pluses. So that kind of messed with the prices on the double rares. And with the double rares, you could see Nino being the highest. She is at 348. And again, this number includes the actual shipping. I know, again, if you buy over $5 on certain sellers, like this one right here, that you get it for free. But in the case that you buy one, I use 348. So the numbers that you normally see on this sheet include shipping. Obviously, depending on your state, there are taxes that go along with that. And if I go down here real quick, just double rare average, this is where the double rare pluses start. This is the double rares. You can see right here, after 1 week, minus 14%. It didn't drop as drastically as it normally does. And again, I can't tell for sure because I don't know realistically what the percentage of stores that didn't actually get their product. At this point, I've only seen 2 people comment in my thing. That's not like a huge number, and it's not like I have a lot of people that tell me they work for stores or stuff like that. But so far, too, haven't seen a whole lot of people say. I'm going to hope if you are a person waiting for shiny stuff to hit TCG Player, you are going to be desperately hoping that 33% of their stores have not got their stuff. And again, I use 33% because of what I'm seeing with the supply. And what I mean by that is this right here. So what we have here is the double rare amount of sellers. This number right here, listings, is the amount of sellers. And as you saw there, look, it says 34. Let me just hit refresh. It might have just been because, no. So you see here, it says 32, but if you go in here, it's 34. I don't know, it's like a TCG player bug, who knows. But in any case, what you're going to notice here, this is 29. So when we have double rare versus double rare, right? Double rare, double rare. What we have here is you have roughly the same amount of double rares sitting there. And again, one's been out a little longer than the other. But my point is, what I mean by 33% is because we are hoping as a person that anybody that is waiting for those shiny cards to appear, you are hoping that a third of the supply is delayed. third of the supply being delayed means people are going to open it later and put it on the market, right? It increased this actual number. And you are looking for that because what we are seeing here again with these shiny cards, they're all gone. The prices were, I think, decently priced. Some were a little higher than what I thought. But in any case, when you had a TCG player bonus of 15%, right, you get max $50. A lot of these higher priced cards maxed you out of that $50. Around, I think it was you had to spend 300 some dollars to get the max $50 that you were looking for. And all these SSPs, right? They were above that number, that magic number. And because of that, they were $50 off from where they should have been. So what happened that day was people were waiting for it, because I remember sitting here and I was like, every now and then I would hit refresh because of Black Friday and had off. And I hit refresh and I'm like, okay, an hour went by, nothing happened. 2 hours, then you could start seeing some buying. 3 hours, 4 hours, and it was just nuts, right? Like everything was disappearing. And that is my warning to you about the stuff that happened during this year, right? If you were looking for something that came out this year, you may want to go backwards in time and look it up on TCG Player if you're looking to buy it. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was one of those ones where people, and like all sales would happen, you go for the thing that you want the most first. So Quintessential Quintuplets were going, and then you had Slime and Sword Art Online going, and then people went down the line, down the chain, picking up stuff. You could tell because even on Reddit, there were, and I'm not calling these people out or anything like that. It's more, you have people still coming in this game, right? Quintessential Quintuplets is bringing more people into this game, as every set does. Every set gets more publicity, and people that actually like that series is looking to this game because they're like, oh, I didn't know it existed. Let me check it out. And so you're getting kind of questions that are new people, new collectors, new players, but also people that are newer resellers. And from my perspective, that is not a problem. I don't mind that at all. What I will say again is because of that, older stuff is getting picked off. And if you want that older set, you may just want to keep looking out. Maybe the price isn't right for you, but at the very least, just remember that you might want to go back there sooner than later. How about that? Okay, so double rares, where are we at? Double rares is down 14%, which is actually really good. Nothing horrible has happened to it. But again, when you look at the numbers, the supply of this stuff is definitely out there, right? You have a decent amount, 28, 25, 24, and the prices of them are pretty low, $1.70, $60. These don't include shipping. If I click in here, right, there's shipping right there. So on the surface right here, there is enough supply as it was in Sword Art Online. Obviously, Sword Art Online had a lot more supply just because of how much was open. But my point being here is, again, we're not quite at Sword Art Online levels. And I'm going to say, if you're hoping for deals on cards, you're gonna hope that the delays are actually significant, that people are gonna go back and open it and put it up for sale. If not, then we are going to start talking about a reprint. That's where we are. That's where we are right now. We are going to talk about a reprint because, as you can see here again, like I've shown, these things are gone. And what I always thought was going to happen on the set was people were not going to buy it as much in my head because of the whole they can't sell it from, what was it, the 7 Deadly Sins. And then as the series progressed, right, like there was oversupply. And Quintessential Quintuplets, for whatever reason, I don't know if people just didn't have money, forgot about it, whatever, it wasn't as bought, or maybe again, there's that delay. But if this is it, if there's only like 10% still coming, this is going to be a problem. There's not going to be enough of it. But I don't think there should be a reprint for this. And the reason why I say that is even if there's like 10% coming, 33% coming, I would hope a reprint actually does not come. And the reason I say that is because if you take a look again at, here we are, at the actual playable cards. So this is our double rare pluses. You have 13, 12, 18. The prices on them range, right? We got 12, 13, 5, 2, 3, again without shipping on there. I'll actually show you right here. So 12, 13, 5, 3, 3, 4, whatever. So there is a decent number of supply of this at this point. People are still going to want it. There's going to be, let's see right here. Here. We still have a decent number of booster boxes, right? We have this many. We have 24 sellers, and you can see down the line all the numbers of booster boxes. So we aren't at a point where there isn't enough sealed, that there isn't enough of these things here, the quintessential set, the quintessential set case. We have enough. There's enough cards. There's really just a lack of the higher rarity. So SSPs, SPs, Hanayome rares, right? There's this whole disconnect there. And if we were to actually get hit with a reprint, what would actually end up happening is you're going to have the same thing that happened with Data Live. You're going to have that happen where you're going to have a ton of this stuff that is worth a whole lot less. And again, people are happy with it. But when it comes to the collector aspect, the your cards are worth money aspect, I think it would be better to hold off on a reprint. And if a quintessential set, not quintessential set, Quintessential Quintuplets Volume 2 comes out, that's when you entertain the option of a reprint. Again, if you were really money hungry and you wanted it, if you were a company, yeah, you could just say, okay, let's reprint this sucker. But for the health of the game, I would think that you would hold off on a reprint, especially since we got Data Bullet coming and we got Ruby coming. You're really gonna hurt people and spending on the next couple sets. That's what's gonna happen. You're gonna cannibalize sales instead of helping sales. I honestly believe there is enough supplies, no matter what this shows right here, that looking at the double rare, looking at the double rare plus, looking at the amount of sealed that is out there, that there really is no need for a reprint. But I'm going to imagine with the delays, and if there is not a significant amount of product that shows up from those delays, you know, the stores that didn't get it, that we're going to start hearing calls for a reprint. And I don't suggest that happen anytime soon. Okay, so that's where we are. Double rare pluses, as you saw right here. Overall playset of double rare plus play sets. They are 253. I don't have the numbers for all that other stuff, which would be the rares and commons, rare, blah, 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 blah. I don't have all those. I didn't write them down here. You're looking at least 300 plus 350 maybe for a playset at this time. When you want to take a look at the TDSP, so TDSPs have been the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. I would have honestly never guessed this would happen, and I don't know what it was. Maybe people just didn't really understand what it was, or they just wanted to buy booster boxes. I'm not really sure, but this was crazy to me because when you look at this, okay, so we got Nino, and the ones in this, I don't know what color this is. Peach, I guess. This salmon-y color. What we got here is Nino. And this is lowest on TCG Player. And I wrote lowest on TCG Player because we're going to go with that. So for my whole average thing, it works out. But what ended up with Nino is completely sold out. You could see here, sales last week was 5. And then this week, you know, the 22nd to 28th, we got 8 sales. We got Yotsuba, 10 sales. Itsuki, 6. Ichika, 9. And Miku, 6. Remember, because you had a guaranteed SP put into this quintessential set, right? This quintessential set guaranteed you 1 SP, and you could get it from before this set came out. You could have got it from 160 something to $200. You're telling me that some of this stuff is actually selling for $250, 150, 200, right? And then you still have all those other cards which actually have sold. You get your TDs, your SRs, your triple rares, and those have actually been selling. The nuts part about it, and I didn't have this up here, I saw it the other day. People are actually selling. Is it going to show it to me? It just dawned on me when I'm talking here. Quintessential Quintuplets. How do I find this thing? I found it the other day. People are actually selling these boxes. The actual box of trial. There it is. Here it is. This is nuts to me. Right here. So not only can you sell the guaranteed SP in there, you're selling the SRs and you're selling the triple rares. And if you didn't want to deal with the trial deck singles, what you do is you just sell the actual trial deck. Is that for real? And if you look here, $19. That's what it is. I mean, this person put it up for $10. It's pretty low, actually. Honestly, I hate that. Not the fact that people are selling it. It's more just because if you remember what's inside of this thing, I'd rather buy 2 trial decks, 2 regular trial decks that has the SRs in the front, a possibility at a triple rare or SP, versus buying this one, which is nothing but trial deck cards. And as Audrey pointed out, and as I've said before, the ones that have a foil version, you're only going to get 3 of. So you're not even getting 4. So when you open this thing, you don't even have 4 of one card. You might actually have 3 of one card, which is even worse, I think. So I would watch out if you were going to buy that. And the boxes are really hard to open. If you didn't want to tear those things, you have to be really gentle with it. I actually flipped it upside down. The bottom flap, for whatever reason, was way easier to open than the top flap. Don't know. I don't know why, but it was. And there we are. So you can make tons of money with this quintessential set, apparently. And that's what I mean, like just the SP alone. Because you can go back to videos from everyone that talked about the quintessential set. And they were guessing that these SPs would be like $100 or something like that. Which, again, seems kind of low when you think about it. Because that Nino, when I pulled it out, was that was a beautiful card. Very beautiful looking card. And she sold out at this point. Nino, by the way, is a freaking rock star. Nino, my family, when they picked which quintessential quintuplet was their favorite, Nino only ended up with 1 vote. But honestly, by the people that are playing this game, collecting it, whatever, Nino is the clear winner. And you'll see that down below. So anyways, going back to this, you can see why I think it's just mind-blowing to me that these SPs are worth a lot. I get why people want it. As I've said before, and one of the people in my comments said, what they did was they were picking up the cards because they didn't want to just buy quintessential sets. They didn't want to buy 5 of them, or they wanted a specific person. Like if you wanted 4 of Nino, potentially you have to open, if you're the most unlucky person in the world, you'd have to open 20 of these things to get 4 of them, right? One per case, so 5 times 4, 20. If you were seriously unlucky, that's what would have taken to get all 4 Ninos. And I can understand that, but the fact that this thing was, these cards can really actually go for 250, 200, 150, like that kind of number, that's insane to me because you were guaranteed that to begin with. I just don't know. I think people love the Quints. That's all I'm going to say. I do. What we do know is there is a store that has put out there that there is a restock of this stuff. That was in my comments before. And That person was saying there's a restock that's going to happen at their store, but realistically, what I think is happening is hopefully this is the actual delayed product. Their distributor is finally getting it. Maybe maybe the distributor bought extra, and now people are wanting it, so they're purchasing and selling it through their store. That is honestly what I'm thinking is going to happen. The way it came out sounded like it was a reprint, but obviously I think other stores would have said at this point that there is a reprint. And we know there's no way a reprint actually happened because it would take so long to actually print it. And with shipping delays now, there's no way that reprint would have ended up here right now, right away within first, second week of December. Not going to happen ever. Reprint's going to take a while longer than that if they choose to do one, which again, I hope they don't. And even then, that store that said there was a quintessential set restock, they said it was a quintessential set restock. They didn't say anything about booster box or anything like that. I'm going to drink this. I made this earlier. It's, what is it? Orange juice, grenadine, lime juice, and we got our Cocalico Jack. Pretty tasty. This is, by the way, if you're not understanding it, this video is going to be a lot about Quints because there's so many cards to talk about, so many things about it. What we got next here is the Booster SPs. Again, Booster SPs didn't actually have a signature on it. You could check out Nino. I love this art. Anybody that's heard me talk, I do like collecting cards with hair ties in it, scrunchies, whatever. So you got the Saya scrunchies one. You got this one, usual Haruhi, which I don't have. I would love to have it. And Booster SPs had a heck of a time because, again, what I did here was I put Lois on TCG Player, the amount available, and the available amount as of today. And you could see in this salmony color, Nito got hit pretty hard. I mean, she had 14 available, dropped all the way down to 2. We had 15 card sales. 15 card sales. So she was the all-time buyer there. It was bought up so much. The lowest on TCG Player right now is $200. Yes, $200. It's pretty nuts. So here it is. We got Nino being bought up, and as you can see, what happened here was 11/26 happened. I don't know why people buy, especially on the 25th when they said the wholesale thing is happening. Maybe because you didn't want the possibility of it being sold out. You can get that, but 15% off. Like, all these people bought all these cards here, and someone actually bought yesterday for 186, which is, again, pretty insane to me. But again, it's a nice card. You only have one of these cards in a case, so that's understandable. If you want this card, they really wanted it. But again, if you're hoping for that delayed stuff to come along, this thing will drop. And that's why I said that. But who knows? I don't know at this point. There's not enough people telling me that there's a lot of delays, so maybe this is it. This is what it's going to look like. And the rest of them, not really much happened. You could see, I don't want to say not really much happened, because even though Nina sold 15, we got 10s here. And you could see why I'm like hesitating to say that there's not enough supply. Because as you can see with Miku here, there were 16 of them of actual cards. This isn't sellers, this is actual cards. 16, 14. Even though she had 9 sales in the past week, it's 19 of them. I don't know if people just love this card and all of that stuff. Nino, it's useful for play. You can come up with your own kind of thoughts on all this. But as you can see here, these were definitely bought up. So again, it could be people just collecting it, not wanting to sell it. A lot of things happened here that you could just go through and talk about. Actually, I want to go back because I didn't talk about this double rare. So real quick on the double rare is Ichika. And I saw that as I was flipping through these things. So Ichika, same deal. But the supply on Ichika is lower than the rest. You could see what happened here. That sales are still happening. You could, like you saw me scroll down this thing. This is the 28th through 26th. It actually got to the point where I had to click this load more button, which doesn't normally happen. So there you are. There's a lot of sales for Ichika, which is, by the way, a useful double rare plus 3-2 finisher. So that explains a lot of it, because if I were to go to this Miku, let's just take a look. Not as many sales, right? Here's the load more button, and we're on November 23rd. So you can tell right away there's a difference between the two cards and the amount of sales that happen. Not like a huge amount of difference, but there is. So Double Rare Plus is definitely feeling the pressure because you only got one play set of them per case. And even though you got one play set of them, you might not have gotten 4 of each. People got like a 5, 3, 4, 4. So as other people have thought of, and what I did as well, I went ahead and bought 1 of each Double Rare Plus, because I do have boxes of it, cases of Quintessential Quintuplets, but at the same time, I'm not sure how many I'm going to open. Which, by the way, I have to get, my niece hasn't given me her work schedule yet to see when she's free to open, because I definitely want to open booster boxes slash a case of this stuff. It depends on how much comes out of that case, or if I don't get any Miku cards. If I don't get Miku cards, then I'm going to open more, obviously, because I want to get it myself. I could just buy these cards, but, well, I take that back about buying them, just because of, as you see here, there's not many cards left. So I may just open more boxes than I originally intended to. But I want to do that at the very least with my niece, because I just find it opening more fun. And I also want to say is I will be opening, I know I talked to Dean about this. I will be opening like the one guy on YouTube does, where he just opens a pack. It's like you do it like a minute kind of thing. I just think that's more fun for me. And the other real reason I'm doing it is because I learned when you do those shorts on YouTube, which I've been playing with a little bit, you can actually use copyrighted music that you wouldn't have been able to use. You don't get the whole library of copyright music, but you get access to more music that you wouldn't have necessarily been able to use on a normal video. And with that, I just want to play with it. Again, for me, I know as a YouTuber, you're supposed to make videos for your audience, but on this one, I'm going to make it for myself, just because I want to put it with the music, and I think it would be really nice. So there we go. You're going to start seeing pack openings, like this 1 minute pack opening, 30-second pack opening with music, because it's just more entertaining to me. I want to open these packs up, but at the same time, I do find it boring, like just opening them. That's why I want to do it with my niece. That's why I want to do it with music. So that's what's going to be happening when you see it. All right, Hanayome rares, same deal. What we got here is Nino being bought up by everybody. But if you take a look here, overall, they're all just disappearing. You only got 1 per thing. This is like the same story of what I just said on the Nino up above on the booster SPs. Hanayomi rares, same deal. Nino gone, Nino gone, Nino gone. Ichika almost gone. Miku, Yotsuba almost gone. You have Itsuki here. She had 8 for some reason. I guess people don't like her. Who knows? But you could see there was a decent amount of sales, right? And my point here is Nino, unless people had the unluckiest cases in the world, they just didn't want to sell it, because you could see only 5 sold, but now we're sold out. And there were actually 9 available. I made sure to check that the 9 were there. So people probably sold it on Facebook, they sold it on eBay, wherever. They pulled it down. But what we had here was 5 sale, and now we're at sold out for Nino. The rest of them, like Ichika, sold 13.99. So the buying is strong. The buying is there. We just don't have the actual supply of these higher rarities for whatever reason. Again, it could be Facebook, eBay, Mercari, wherever you can sell cards at. These things are just gone. And my point again is lower rarity is available, and I don't see a reprint really is necessary at this point. SSP, same deal. This thing was pretty interesting, because we got now we got 3 girls gone. We got Nino gone. We got Miku gone. We got Ichika gone. 8, 6, 7 sold. There we go. What you got left is Itsuki and Yotsuba 4 and 5. And my point the last week is I felt like for sure that these things weren't worth 650 because people were like putting them around 650 for all the girls, 625, 650, right? And that was my point. It needed to come down for people to buy it. And that's exactly what happened, right? Like when that Black Friday TCG player bonus bucks happened, that instantly gave you $50 off. And when that happened, people thought that was a good enough deal to actually claim that. Some people bought for higher prices when these things started running out. But in the end, really, I don't think all the girls equally are worth $650. And I get it. I know Audrey said that you only get one per master case. And again, it's a 1 in 5 chance where, like other sets, there might be 2 or 1 SSP. So there'd be a lot more of it. But with this set, there'd be 5 of them. And I get that. But still, like all the girls are not equally worth 650, 625 to 650, right? We have Yotsuba right here that dropped in price and is still available. So no, I don't believe and again, I don't believe Itsuki is worth $788.60. I don't believe so. That's still too high to me. I think again, it would drop. Maybe someone buys it during the Cyber Monday sale. Who knows? But 788 kind of seems nuts. And again, knowing that product was delayed, I expect that to drop. Unless there's a hardcore collector out there that just wants it. Someone wants to buy everything. I don't know. There we are. That is Quintessential Quintuplets in a nutshell. Let's see what else I got here. Let me just check this out. Yeah, I don't have a lot of time, so we're just going to do this the old-fashioned way. Click through it. What we got here? Oh, SRs. SRs and triple rares. SRs and triple rares. So there wasn't a ton of buying on it. I'm going to compare to the other stuff. So there were stuff that was bought on November 26th. You can see it right here. But as you can see, it's 2, 4, 8, 9, 11. 11 cards bought of this actual SR. So you're going to see that across the board. Where, let me click on this Nino. You have buying right here. 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There we go. So as you can see here, people were buying this stuff, but it wasn't as heavy as the others. As the booster boxes, as the shinies, and all that good stuff. So triple rares, you're going to find the same thing happen. Again, as you can see here, so again, the trial deck versions have this TE right here. And even though you got them in trial decks, you only got one of them, and people were buying these. So same thing happened here as well. There you go. And that's what I mean. I'm like, if you wanted one of each, you could have just bought the quintessential set. And I'm not saying that as a person that has money or anything like that, because I realistically, right, if you just say 200 times 5, that's $1,000. That's a lot of money. If you wanted to buy just one girl, yeah, you can target it. Just seems odd how this all happened. And really, when you look at this, there are 8 listings of this. There should have been more of these cards, right? It definitely feels like the quintessential set was underbought because people didn't want to deal with all the extra child decks that you'd end up with. Again, like that makes sense to me. People didn't want to deal with these tiny little red boxes and blue boxes, and I wouldn't want to either. That like when I thought about my case and extra set boxes that I have, I was thinking about, man, at the very minimum, I would have 50, but no, 25 of these things sitting there. It was 50 because I counted this as like 2 trial decks. But you'd have 25 of these sitting there, just sitting there. It's just nuts. I don't know what you would do them all. Again, I would give them to my friends, but there's no playmats in them. I only have so many spare trial deck playmats, and I don't have that many of them, I'll tell you that. I don't. Okay, so Quintessential Quintuplets, there we are. I think that's it now. Yep, that's it. We're on Sword Art Online. So let's take a look at the last notes. Everyone loves the sale. That's apparent now. Everybody loves the sale. We got we got Black Friday hitting with the 15%, and things just went nuts. Booster boxes, all the whole thing. Nino wins in the high rarity sales. I mean, even though my family chose Miku, Nino is the real winner. You can tell by TCG player which one got bought up more. This is about the delay. We already talked about that. Available sealed matches that of SAO. Even cards are roughly there. More people opening and holding to play or collect. I feel that's a real thing. Like with the quintessential quintuplets, the cards look beautiful. People love the girls. It's a huge anime. I know my sister was doing these Kujis. I don't know if you heard about them, Kujis, but when they have a quintessential quintuplet ones, that seem to go really, really quick. And again, I'm still on the lookout for the trial deck. SPs, we know what's happening with them, but the SR triple rares, because of the fact that you are guaranteed those in the set itself, it's just fun to actually watch what's actually being bought. When you look at it, what you start seeing here is people were actually making sets. Maybe they didn't buy the set and they thought it would be cheap to get in on it, but these prices on these trial deck cards are like normal. Slash, some are even higher than expected. Like normally with trial decks, they're like what, 20 cents, 25, but you do see some in the 50s, but I feel like there are a lot more 50s this time around than normal. And again, it's because of the supply of it. There's only six, 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 five. Here's a 5. Here's a 7. It's amazing that these cards are actually being bought. And I go again, there's not that many sales. There's 3 here, but still, normally you don't even have as many sales on trial decks to begin with, like on individual cards inside of the trial deck. I just think it's amazing. It truly is amazing what happened here during this set. By just tweaking it a little by throwing this whole trial deck quintessential set thing, it really messed with how the market normally works. Jeez. Quintessential quintuplets. A lot going on. Let's move on to Sword Art Online. Sword Art Online, same old thing. 6% down on the double rares. Not really much happening as expected. And truly, it's only been 3 weeks. 3 freaking weeks. And we are down overall negative 27. So overall, pretty good. It's hanging on. And the reason for it, again, the why it's holding on is you can play with the set. It's a set you can actually use. It has some beautiful cards. There's a lot of people opening this for the serial numbers. As you can see here, I'm just going to go through this because obviously not much is happening. People are definitely collecting it because this number, for the amount that is being opened, collecting, playing, they are holding on to it because this price hasn't dropped as drastically as it normally does. It should have been lower, but it's not. So OFRs, I think people giving up on trying to actually price this stuff. They got it. They want to sell it because there's enough supply of it. You could see here 95.52. When I start seeing people use the same numbers over, I think it's like you're kind of just giving up and you're just throwing it out there hoping someone would buy it. And I say that because of the whole quintessential sets SSP. Again, when it was priced roughly at the same, people were just like, screw it, I'm going to put it up the same and hopefully someone will buy it. Like at that price. And I seriously mean that when I say that. I think it's just, when I start seeing the same price, I feel like that's when people just are throwing up cards hoping that it would sell. Because they don't know what other number to use. You're just hoping that it sells. Where the soul is, Alice went up a little bit. So there were some sales across the boards for all these, not so much. So let me show you here. Right here. So when you take a look at the sales on this on November 26th, it went this yay far on the screen. It didn't go any further. You can see this load more sales button. You compare that over here to our Nino. And same thing, but Nina sold a bit more, right? Here we go. Same thing, there were some sales that happened, but there seems to be more sales of that than there was of the Sword Art Online, which makes sense to me because 3 weeks has passed where the Quints has only been 1 week. Let's see. We got SSPs. SSPs, as we all thought, the serial numbers were important, right? Serial numbers were important, and what I pointed out last week was once you got past the serial numbers, you're down left with the foils. And what we saw with the non-signed SPs, you end up with something that is pretty boring, I would say. Just because the double rares or whatever version of the card that's used use the exact same image. Like it was zoomed in a little bit more or zoomed out, whatever, but it was the same card over and over again. And did you want to pay $4 for it or do you want to pay 200 some dollars for it? I'd rather have the $4 one, just say I missed the $200 one, and too bad. Really, you want the serial number. The rest is a lot of supply. That's what's going on here. Sword Art Online. There it is. So when we got Asuna here, we got 17,235. Over time, that's dropped down from 290, 250, 235. Because, again, as the weeks pass, like for a while there, right? We had HoloLive JP that took up everybody's attention. Then it went to another set, and now we're here at SAO, and people were going nuts trying to find the serial numbers. And now we got Quints. So a card like this that doesn't have a serial number, that has matching art from another one, maybe it's more shiny and all that good stuff, but in the end, right, is it really worth $235? As we've seen with the other sets, like Kaguya or Magia Record Anime, if you don't got a sign on it, if you don't got anything special about it, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt, especially with the amount of supply out there. It's not like tons of people are buying these cards, right? You can see it right here. You have 3 card sales, 2 and a 1, within 10 days. If I take a look at another one, let me pick a different one. Let's pick Shinan right here. She sold actually a fair amount. 4. She sold a fair amount, 4. She's got 18 sellers out there. Let me just try. I don't want to beat up on Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not going to do that to him. Let's pick up Lifa. Lifa, I thought, sold some. 3. And in the past week, though, I mean, we got 5, 6. That's pretty nice, right? But again, that's probably because of the price. Why 73? It might match whatever version of this is, what double rare or something like that. Even though it matches, at the same time, it's a low enough price that you could probably pick up one of these and feel happy that you didn't spend $235 on something like this for the same kind of art. 70 something, decent enough. Is that the same with Yu-Gi-Oh? Yeah, see, same. It's all about the pricing. The right price for these non-signatures really matters because it doesn't hurt as bad. So hopefully that makes a whole lot of sense to you. Like when we look at Kirito, let's see what this dude. Yeah, see, same thing, 4. So there's a certain dollar amount that these non-signatures will actually sell at. And when you look at Asuna, as good as of a character, or as people love her as, you're going to need to drop the price to actually get more sales on it. And again, if I was a holder of this, I am not, so you do what you want to, but you could see the huge amount of people that have this card. And it's not selling for a reason, and truly the reason is this. That's all there is to it. As sad as that sounds, that is truly the reason because of it, and you don't have a serial number. I guess, I think it would be here. Right there where I'm pointing. I think they're, are they all in the bottom? Yeah, they're all in the bottom right. Mid-right, I guess you could say. There we are, Sword Art Online. Booster boxes sold like crazy. So if you're one of those people that wanted to hold a sealed box, again, I'm telling you this, there is supply out there, but a decent number of these sold. Right, so this is the 26th. There we go. 26 was this long of a list. It's not a huge amount. Like if you look at Quints, it was longer, but there is only 12 sellers out there for this. So people are actually buying this stuff, looking for the serial numbers still. There's 7 cases left. I thought there was like 14 last week. Maybe I'm imagining things. I don't know. But, or maybe when it first came out, there was 14 of these things. I just looked at the bottom of this list. Why did someone buy this at $1,200 on September 11th? That's nuts. 1,200. Whoever this is, definitely ask somebody if there is a store out there near you, or if you want to buy online outside of this, because 1,200 for a pre-order is a lot. Just a lot. Just so you know, 1,200. If you're watching this, don't buy this for $1,200, like on a pre-order. Okay, so enough supply out there, but it is running out of TCG player. There's definitely people that I've heard that has cases and cases and cases of this stuff. Whether they put it up, whether they're waiting for like this thing to hit $100, but whatever the case, you can see where the price is going. Unless people start putting more up, you can obviously see where it's going. And again, it's all because of the serial number hunting, and that really is it. Slime. Let's go to slime. Slime. Here we are. Slime. There's slime. Slime is as you can see, there's a ton of supply. This is our double rares as always: 42, 36, 39, 46, 45, 50. There's 50 of that card. So you can see here, double rare pluses continue to drop. That's amazing. 74%. Again, I felt like that 74% was because people priced this incorrectly at the beginning. So let me actually unhide this. There we are. So at the beginning of this It's Delicious Milim was $20. Again, totally wrong. That's most likely skewing my numbers. These two right here were definitely not supposed to be priced that high. Like that was just not where it's supposed to be. But in the end, it doesn't matter, because when you look at the final number, the final result, we got the double rare playset. Let me just double check that. Yeah, no, I'm using all these cells right here. It's pretty low. $85.56. That's even lower than our good friend Data Live. So just to flash that real quick, Data Live 92.84, and that's with a reprint. We have Slime 2 at 85.56. People went nuts on this set. People went and opened a crap load of this because Slime is a good anime. Set 1 did really awesome. People just went nuts and opened a ton of it. And again, I can understand why. I mean, it's a good anime. Not saying it's not, and I love Milim. I mean, I love this Shion SP. It's really cool. And that's what happened. Everything else got hurt because of that. There were some sales that still happened right on November 26th. So not as many though. So here's the 26th. So again, as time goes on, people are going to buy less and less of it. And what Weiss used to do was there wasn't a whole lot of supply. So as time went on, it kept going up because it went up fast because of the lack of supply. With the amount of supply out there today, this is going to take a whole lot longer to actually have happen, especially with, TCG Players sale, like as good as that, 15% back. This is as many as it sold. You got a little bit of time, right? 42. Again, this is the 7 deadly sins, which I didn't bring up. I haven't looked at in a long time. So 7 deadly sins, double rare, 39, 33, 26, same deal. So that's what I mean. Like this mirrors the same thing as the 7 deadly sins. Well, actually, 7 deadly sins is still worse. It got 60 of these kings. You got 60 kings, man. That's a lot. So Slime didn't hit the levels of the 7 deadly sins, but it's pretty up there. We'll see what happens with Ruby, right? Ruby could be just a crazy show. I mean, as a crazy show as in how much supply is out there. I mean, it feels like there's going to be a decent amount of Ruby bought. That's what it feels like. But hopefully, people learned and maybe have their order this time. Like instead of buying 12 cases, maybe you just go with the 6, or at least go with the 10. You know, that's a nice round number instead of 12. Let's go with 10 this time. But that's where we are. Slime, too much supply out there. People went nuts. But I will say, the prices on these booster boxes are super low. Because again, this is $4.99 shipping. I believe that if you were to buy 2 of these things, it's not like double shipping or something. It really is just $5. So $48.91 buying it at that number, it's pretty insane. And a lot of people agreed with me because even just today, there was how many sales? 3 sales, so 7 boxes picked up today. But let's go back to the 26th. Here we are. Look, the 26th happened, and we are at the load more sales button, right? We actually hit the load more sales button on this one. I know you have these at the top. If you just remove those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we have a fair amount of boxes that actually sold, which again goes back to that warning that I gave you at the beginning of this video. If there's something that you wanted from earlier this year and you didn't buy it, you might want to go back and check. You might want to do that, especially with tomorrow coming up, because other people are looking, and it's good for this person selling all that. This is the person that had a lot of boxes. So overall, slime, even though there is a lot of double rares, that's my point. For whatever reason, people want to open this. Instead of buying single cards, they either want to keep this for their collection because it's low in price, or they are going SP hunting. That is what is literally happening here. They're going SP hunting. Cases as well. What happened? No sales on cases. They're still $892.97, which is divided by 16. We got $55.81. So maybe that's why that didn't sell, because Black Friday. Black Friday again. This is that math that I did the last time, because we know with the TCG player that you can only get max $50 on a single sale, on a single item. So by buying it this way on the 26th, you were able to get extra savings. Like you would get more than the $50 because a case would be, let's say you bought it for the $48.91 times 16, $782, but we're going to go the full 15, so you get $117.38 back. $117.38. I did it that way because obviously the single item was 40 whatever number I used, $49, $48.91. That was never going to go over that $50 max per item, so overall you get $117, where if you bought this case you would only got $50 back, so you more than double the amount you save by doing it that way. But again, by doing that, you might not actually have a whole case, right? You potentially, if you didn't buy from this person, you might not have gotten an actual full case of booster boxes. So who knows if those were already mapped out and all of that good stuff, if they were dead boxes, whatever term you want to use. But that is the strategy. So come Monday, if you wanted to buy a bunch of these, maybe you ask this person right here if they sell it by the case. Like if you buy 16, it sells by and you get a sealed case. That might be the way to go, because that way then you save a ton of money and get bonus bucks back, right? Like the max potential of bonus bucks back. That might be why, again, that right here a case didn't actually sell. People SP hunting. People are in fact still buying SPs. It's not a huge amount, but they are. So here we are. What we got? User of Ifrit. We got this one here. Let me hide all this. I don't want to see all these bros. Okay, so what we have here, Shizu actually went up 315 from 257, 203 from, so you can see some of these actually plus. So there is actual sales, and that's what I mean. People may still be SP hunting as there are some sales. It's not a huge amount of them, but there are still sales actually going on with this. Again, it was a good set. It was definitely a good set, and a lot of these cards are cool. You know, again, my personal favorite has moved up to this one. I just think that's cool. She's pointing. She drew her ogre horn and has a little heart. That's a nice signature. You can't beat that. I love that actual signature. I mean, this one's cool too. I mean, look how nice that is. That's just amazing. I can't even imagine in my dreams I could actually ever write that nicely. So nice, so nice. So SPs, there we are, still being on the hunt for them, and that really is it. Lots of boxes bought in 1126, 7 Deadly Sins, smaller release timing. There we go. 7 Deadly Sins done. Last one. I'm tired out, man. These videos always go so long. I'm 1 hour in, so at this point I can pretty much say whatever I want. I'm tired. I hope you guys all had a good Thanksgiving. It was hilarious because I'm gonna take a little time out on this and just talk about Thanksgiving since we're 1 hour in. So let me know how your Thanksgiving went down below. Hopefully everybody had a good time. I really do mean it. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday because out of all of them, you don't have to deal with presents like a Christmas. Like, what am I supposed to get him? Did I get him a good enough gift? Like, and then you're sitting there, some person. This happened before. It went through my mind. I normally don't care, but I remember like one of my coworkers got me. I'm not even joking with any of you. An iPad. He got me an iPad because I mean we're friends. He likes it. He likes me, so you know, I've always been there for him. So he got me an iPad, and right, like when you sit there and you look at the present you gave him, and then he gives you an actual iPad, like back in the day when it was like $450 or something. I don't know how much iPads cost now, but $450. That was a really, really nice iPad. And I give him some gift that's like $50. I'm like, I was like, okay. I thought my $50 gift was good. I don't even remember what I gave him that year, but to get like something that's 9 times the amount is just like it's awful. I hate Christmas. It's like can't we just go out, have a meal? I buy you a drink or you know buy you the dinner or something. I think as I get older, if you haven't hit that point yet where gifts don't really matter anymore. My wife always hated buying me presents because I'm one of those people that if I want something, I'll just buy it right away. Like if I don't have a lot of wants in my life, but when I do, I just buy it right away. Where other people just keep like you know, there's other people that you know in your life that just nonstop buy stuff. Like for me, I don't really have anything I want. Really, I just want to retire. If you can give me a retirement, I'm down. That's what I want. Overall, Thanksgiving was awesome. My sister came over here yesterday. She was opening Digimon, the new set of Digimon that came out. And I remember I got so many desserts to bring home because people didn't want to eat the desserts, and I was going to my wife's side for dinner, which wasn't a dinner. They told me to bring the dessert along, so at home here, they didn't eat it. So now I have a pumpkin roll. I have a snickerdoodle roll, which is like a pumpkin roll but snickerdoodle. If you've never had it, I've never had it. That was the first time I ever had it. I have a cherry pie, pecan pie, and my sister was like, "Do you got any dessert?" You know, so she's opening this Digimon. She's like, "Do you got any dessert?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do." And I offered her those 4 things, and she was like, "No, I don't want it." And then later on, she was like, "You had any chips?" So she didn't eat anything. And then she was like, "You got any chips?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got that dip and there's chips. It's right beside the oatmeal cream pie." And she was like, "I thought you didn't have any dessert that I wanted to eat." And I'm like, "I told you all the desserts. Those are the desserts." She was like, "What do you mean oatmeal cream pie?" And I'm like, "You know, the Little Debbie oatmeal cream pies." And she was saying, she was like, "I'll eat that." And I'm like, "What?" I was like, "What do you mean?" She was like, "I'll eat that Little Debbie oatmeal cream pie." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "You had a choice of pumpkin roll, snickerdoodle roll, pumpkin pie, or cherry pie, and a pecan pie. You don't want any of them. She's like, no, I want that Little Debbie's. And I'm like, I mean, I was with her because I was the person that bought the oatmeal cream pie. I think they're delicious. It's Little Debbie, but they're just smaller now. I remember back in my day when they were gigantic, and nowadays they're still the same price, but they're just tiny. As the economy has rolled on and inflation happened and all that stuff, so they just make them a little bit smaller. But you know me, I rather have that cheap Little Debbie thing. I love it. It's really good. I think it's better than all that other stuff. But I don't know many people that show up to a Thanksgiving dinner with a box of Little Debbie snacks. Maybe they should. I think it's good. I was just laughing at her. That was good. Anyways, back to Data Live. Sorry. So again, let me know how your Thanksgiving went. Oh, the other thing that happened. Should I even say this? Should I even say this? So what? My what was it? My not mom's side, my wife's side. My wife's side of the family, they normally have dinner at one of their houses, which is fine, at her sister's house. This year, for whatever reason, her mom got upset at everybody and said, "Screw it, we're just going out to eat." So they booked a restaurant. This is the whole story. They booked a restaurant and it was an Italian place. This is the story I got. It was an Italian place that had a buffet for Thanksgiving. And I'm like, oh, cool, that sounds good. But she booked it at 3 o'clock. Normally it's at 5 o'clock that we have dinner. I've never eaten out at a restaurant before. And when we found out about it, my wife asked her, and her mom said, yeah, I booked it at 3 o'clock. But we didn't reserve you a spot. So I was like, what? How are we supposed to eat dinner then? And she was like, I thought you weren't going to come. And I'm like, we come every year. Like, why wouldn't we come? So not only we weren't invited basically to the Thanksgiving, and the sisters got mad when they found out because obviously they were going to prepare the Thanksgiving, and that didn't actually happen, right? So they went to this restaurant, and because they felt bad about how it all went down, they're like, hey, at 5 o'clock, come to my house and we'll all be there. We'll get together. We'll do dessert. And I'm like, again, in my mind, I'm like, what am I eating for dinner? I don't want to eat. And obviously, the dessert choices that I got, I should have just brought my Little Debbie with me. But they said, we're going to bring a potato salad, ham salad, and we're going to bring desserts. And I'm like, oh, that's great. So I would have eaten lunch and then have to show up to this get together for us because again they would have been sitting at dinner with each other already talking, so I'd have to show up with my A game as something interesting to talk about, and my A game is pretty sad. It's not the greatest when it comes to adult conversation. I am terrible at adult conversation, as I've said before. So that's how my Thanksgiving went. Luckily for me, I had my niece there. I did that video about picking the Quints. You could hear her laughing at me, and there's nephews not actually choosing. So I had her there to talk with afterwards. She was sleeping for a while there. So at the first hour it was a little iffy, but like the last hour was good. We did that video part, and then we played Mario Party, so it worked out. But overall, it was a mess because people were kind of angry at each other and all this stuff. But it eventually worked out. That was Thanksgiving, but overall, it was nice to see my side of the family. We had a lot of fun. We did that Quints thing too. Miku won, as always. And I know Audrey questioned my wife saying about that fake smile. Hey, just so you know, I questioned my wife on the fake smile too. So you're not alone on that. I mean, Yotsuba is genuine, right? Yotsuba is genuine too. So, back on track. Data Live. Data Live. What do I think about Data Live? The reason I'm doing Data Live is because of Data Bullet. I wanted to check back and see if did the prices change because of Data Bullet. And the answer is not really. There were some that held on to their prices or were bought because you can tell of the upcoming set. I mean, there's not a whole lot of sales. So as you can see here, Data Live is not as dead as other sets. What I mean by that, if you go back to some of the older sets from this year, which again I'm suggesting you do if you want anything from them, but you could see Data Live actually has some sales, continuing to go on. This has nothing to do with TCG Player. People are actually still buying this thing. So the nice part about sets that are actually useful should make sense to you. Sets that are actually useful, retain value, and that's what you're looking for. When you're looking to buy and invest in this stuff, you want to make sure it's an anime that's good, that it has playability and all that stuff. Because if they pull a reprint on you, you want to know that these things will actually sell. Even though the reprint's going to hurt it badly. You can see over here, since the reprint happened, whenever that happens, when did that happen? All the way back here. All right, you can see it. So around this point is the reprint. It was a little bit before that, but this is when you started seeing the prices drop off. You could see that it's lost another 57%. But at the very least, it wasn't over. You could have sold any time before that if you were holding on to it. Or, again, this proves to you that you can just wait for a reprint to happen and save a bunch of money. As in Slime 1, as in Nazarick one day, that will happen. I mean, if you even want a Nazarick. But overall, you have a huge loss, like when it comes to this 83% down from when it first came out. But again, you could say that 83 isn't really as big as it is because of what happened at the beginning of all this. If we all remember, there wasn't enough of it, so the prices were high to begin with. Again, this is all based on the starting price. The starting price is up in the 40s. That might be a lot more than what it is normally, right? So maybe normal price is 15. Right? If I would have shoved the 15 in here, it would be like 50% down. It wouldn't have been too bad. But it started out at the gate pretty high up just because of the lack of supply. Okay. I know this wasn't the actual beginning date because I wasn't tracking it then, but when I was tracking it, it was in the nosebleed sections at 41.73. And overall, 92.84 is what our double replace set is. Pretty affordable for a set that's super good. No restrictions at this time when it comes to English play. And again, for whatever reason, it's actually higher with a reprint than Slime 2. So you can tell that even though this thing even got reprinted, the amount of cost that is here, the worth of it, is still higher than Slime 2. Kind of sad, actually. The other thing is you want to watch out for this. This thing was amazing. I don't know what happened here. I cannot tell you, but this person came along with 24 of these things. I haven't watched like every day, so I'm just going to assume it was a catalyst for this. But you could see there was a time period where these cards were selling for... Actually, let me go here. 20s, 23, 23, 26, 29. $29. So you can see that. And this is a useful card. So I'm going to say it that way. This is a useful card that came from the trial deck. You only got 2 cards per trial deck, meaning you needed 2 trial decks to actually get the full play set, which most people use 4. And what we have here was this. But then you could see this drop off like right here. So I don't know if this is because of this person or whatever. I mean, it could have been a snowball of people just undercutting each other. But you could see, if you need this card, it's at $12.96. So there was a time period around like, you should buy the trial decks because the trial decks have more worth, or you should just buy these cards individually. At this point, you're looking at buying this individually at this point versus buying a trial deck, because trial deck is $68. So you would only get 2 of them in there. Obviously, more cost effective to buy the card individually. There you are. And again, because it's not a sealed thing of it, they might have already pulled the SP or triple rare. You never know. Again, there's people that don't do that and I'll have no clue. They're just selling their extra trial deck that they got. Who knows, whatever. But in the end, right now at this point, the confrontation with humans Toka that is the way you're going to want to go, single card all the way. And again, you might want to check out that data bullet video I did. There were some decks I took a look at to see even if you want to use this card, right? If you want to use this card, if you want to use Terrible Spirit Kurumi, because maybe the deck you're building doesn't really require it, right? You may not have to use that card at all when you add in data bullets. So just watch out for that. Watch those other folks like Pittsburgh, Strictly Broken, Burn One, Doggo Card Reviews, any of those people, anybody else you like, to see if there's a deck that you want to build and what cards you actually need inside of it. There you go. There you go. Okay, Data Live Booster Box. What's the deal with Data Live Booster Box? 18 listings. Again, see, that's my point. You have 18 of these things where you have like Sword Art Online at 12, right? Sword Art Online is pretty down there. Again, there's people that have it hiding in their closets, but at the same time, that's a low number comparatively. So there were some sales, right? Let's see. There were some sales that happened on Black Friday, and I imagine it would still continue on Cyber Monday, even though it's only 10%. There we are. So I didn't look at any other sets. I am actually going to go back and look at all the other sets, but I don't have time for all that, right? So again, make sure, I said this a few times already, I hate to be a broken record, and I'm pretty sure you're tired of hearing me say this, but because of all these sales, the things that are happening, and I see moves that people are still trying to make, it is kind of crazy that after everything that's happened this year, with people buying into Wise, trying to resell it, trying to collect it, whatever you want to do, right? Again, I don't judge you for that. You are free to do whatever you want with your money. I'm happy to see that. As long as you're in it to help out the game, move along product, whatever. But just be careful. If there's something you want, make sure to check it out. Tomorrow is a great day to do that, 10% back. So if you hit 500, you max out the $50 credit. It's a good deal. Again, maybe one comes up at Christmas. Who knows? I don't know if that'll happen or not. But make sure if you want to, check back and look at all the sets from before that you were thinking about, okay? Because there are people still looking to buy it, either to collect or resell. I don't know what it is, obviously, like which way, because you don't see who's actually the one buying it. But there are people still looking to do that kind of stuff, and it's still happening. That is it. So again, I will eventually put up some just like single booster pack openings just for my benefit and to use some music. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, great. Doesn't matter. But I appreciate you all. And as always, have fun, be happy, and don't buy anything outside of your budget. Have a good one.